We now know who the Chiefs' opponent will be in the AFC divisional round as they will face off with the Houston Texans. Welcome into this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report, powered by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us as we look back on the wild card round and look ahead to the divisional round, and we'll give you a sneak preview of Saturday's matchup between the Chiefs and the Texans. Let's look back on what happened in Super Wildcard Weekend. It will always be Super Wildcard Weekend in my book, as it was a pretty decisive win for the top seeds, the divisional winners in the AFC, as the Texans soundly defeated the Chargers 32-12. The Ravens beat the Steelers by 14, 28-14. And then the Bills with a strong performance, especially in the second half against the Denver Broncos, to get a 31-7 win. Chiefs with the first-round bye. And as you all know, the Chiefs were set up to play the lowest remaining team in the AFC in the divisional round, so that sets them up to play against the Houston Texans. We did not know that till just now because we were waiting to see if the Broncos could potentially beat the Bills. Had the Broncos done that, they'd be playing Denver. Instead, it is a rematch of a game that we saw just a few weeks ago on a Saturday in Kansas City, just prior to Christmas. The Chiefs already 7.5-point favorites. The over-under set at 43.5 in this game. And I'll say this, my first look at this matchup. Down the stretch, the Texans really struggled. They did not play well against Kansas City. They did not play well against Baltimore. They seemed to be out of sorts. It looked like for the Houston Texans that their best football that they played this season was already behind them. But then you turn to this past week against the LA Chargers, and they were underdogs at home against the LA Chargers, and they looked really good. It seemed like that team had flipped a switch. D'Amico had those guys really prepared. And what I'm looking at for Kansas City in order to beat Houston, I'm going back to a similar game plan to what we saw a couple of weeks ago. And although C.J. Stroud is a very good quarterback and one of the best young quarterbacks in football, the thing that I look at is that's been kind of his kryptonite this season has been turnovers in games where he's had multiple turnovers. And the Chiefs were able to do that in their win against the Houston Texans earlier this season. If I'm Kansas City, you look at what they've done this year when it comes to the turnover differential. It hasn't been great for most of this season, but in the games where the Chiefs force turnovers, they tend to win with ease. And we saw that a couple of weeks ago when they took out Houston the first time. I'm looking at the Chiefs doing whatever they need to do to get pressure on C.J. Stroud, to force him into mistakes, into multiple mistakes, and that to be the difference for Kansas City to get the job done. They're about to get a lot of guys back from injury as well. We told you about that yesterday here on the channel. They're going to be much better off health-wise in this matchup than they were when these two teams faced off a couple of weeks ago as far as that goes. Let's ask you, who do you got? You going with the Chiefs or you going with the Houston Texans? Get your predictions in now. I'll give you my prediction coming up at the end of today's show, but want to hear from you guys first. Type KC for Kansas City Chiefs. Type HOU for the Houston Texans. Weigh in and let us know. Today's show is sponsored by PrizePicks. PrizePicks is the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. Here's how it works. Choose two or more players on any given category. Get the choice of more or less, whether you're talking fantasy points in football, rebounds in basketball, goals in hockey, all sorts of different categories to choose from. Go to PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS, and get $50 to spend for free when you play $5. You don't even have to win to get the money. Just go to PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS, and you can win up to 1,000 times your money. I'm looking ahead to Monday night's action as we got a good one on Monday between the Vikings and the Rams. Going with Sam Darnold to have less on completion percentage, 66.8%. Going with Aaron Jones to have less than 60.5 rushing yards. And I'll go Puka Nacua to have more than 8 receptions. Sounds like a lot, but there'd be a nice payout if this all works out, folks. You can play along with us. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. PrizePicks, proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Glad to have them on board here on today's show, and appreciate them sponsoring this video. All right, so for Kansas City here, here's a couple things to keep in mind. All right, let's start with the run game here. The Chiefs have done such a good job over the last couple of seasons with their ability to run the football. And over the last month, it seems like the Chiefs have kind of had their struggles in the run game of getting that going. And a lot of it obviously has to do with the offensive line situation. And Andy Reid has given all indications that they're going to roll with DJ Humphries at the left tackle spot, and Joe Thuney is going to be at the left guard spot. But if DJ has some struggles, gets banged up, whatever, I don't think that they would hesitate to pull the trigger to move Thuney from left guard to left tackle if they need to. But with that being said, you look at over the last several years and the Chiefs and what they've done to run the football. Pacheco has been a monster in the postseason over the last couple of years. And Pacheco, to be honest with you, I haven't seen Pacheco play at a high level this year since that Week 2 game against the Cincinnati Bengals. Obviously, he's been banged up for much of this season, was on injured reserve and all that. Well, now, after getting banged up again, he's coming back. He's back to full strength. And if I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, I think what they're going to do, their point of emphasis this week, is going to be let's establish the run. Let's get Pacheco going. Let's be physical with our run game and use the run game to open up the passing game from there and let Patrick Mahomes do his thing. The other thing to think about with this passing game, we have seen that this Chiefs receiver room has been really just, a revolving door throughout this season of receivers that are available. When you talk about the beginning of the year, when Hollywood Brown went down, and then Rashee Rice goes down, and Juju goes down. You bring in DeAndre Hopkins and all of that. It's just been all over the place, right? Well, now you enter the postseason, and the wide receiver room is the healthiest it's been all season. Hollywood Brown seems to have his role established, although you think of him with that speed as being a deep threat. He's looked like a really good possession receiver. DeAndre Hopkins, I think, in this playoff run is going to give you at least one really good game. Maybe it's this game against Houston, potentially against his former team as far as that goes. I think he might be a little more motivated there as far as that goes. Xavier Worthy had a really nice second half of the season. And the thing I'll say about Worthy, too, a lot of people calling him a gadget player and all this, but what we've seen is the offense really open up of them finding openings for him to do his thing, whether it's in the receiving game, whether it's in the rushing game. I don't care who goes off for Kansas City among these receivers, whether it's Hollywood or D-Hop or Worthy, whoever it may be. I just think one of them needs to step up, and I want to rule out Xavier Worthy being that guy. And I've gone this far without mentioning Travis Kelce. Remember him? Yeah, Travis Kelce. Sure, he had a down year. I get it, whatever. But we talk about Pacheco's track record of stepping up in the postseason. How about this guy? Travis Kelce. When the lights are brightest, when the Chiefs need to do something, Travis Kelce does it time and time again. And with the way Noah Gray's played this season, other teams, typically speaking, love to double-team Kelce and try to take him away in that front. If you dare do that, you're going to open up some things from Noah Gray. So the tight ends, both Kelce and Gray, I think are going to be very effective here. We'll be live for the Chiefs-Texans game right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We will do an hour-long pregame show. We'll be live for the entire game, do a postgame show and all that. You will not want to miss out on it. Our Chiefs-Texans watch party live for every single playoff game right here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. We will see you then. So then, as we move forward from here, the path to the Super Bowl for Kansas City looks like this. You take on the Texans this week. Then you get the winner of the Ravens and the Bills. And I think it's going to be very important for Kansas City, the fact they're playing one or the other. Comparably speaking, that the team they would face in the AFC Championship would have to beat, obviously, Ravens, Bills, that winner, and then the Chiefs. It's a much easier path for Kansas City of avoiding one of those two teams and being at home for those two games before potential Super Bowl matchup. I know that all those teams look good this week. Houston, Baltimore, and Buffalo. They did their jobs. They took care of business. But the Chiefs, with 25-plus days off, with playing much better football down the stretch, I think they're in a really good spot to not only win the AFC, but to repeat as Super Bowl champions. It starts right here with this game against Houston. I feel pretty confident. I'm thinking about a 10-point win for the Chiefs. I think they get this done. I'll say 27-17 is my prediction. Let me know who you got. Will the Chiefs win the Super Bowl again? What do you guys think? Weigh in, let us know. Type Y for yes, in for no. Chime in the comment section. Let us know what you think. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Lock us in for continuing Chiefs playoffs coverage right here on the channel. We got you covered. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.